Training.
Well, so I guess to know that the classes are there at no cost to them. So if they have the passion to do it, so there's a spot. There's a spot for everybody. First of all, let me just say that you don't want to be a fireman. You don't want to do this. You can become an EMT and you can do the medical things and come and help with that. You don't want to do either of those. You don't like blood. You don't want to fight fires, but you want to be a part of the department. You can be part of the auxiliary. You can come in. We need volunteers when we do have a fire to do rehab stuff, right? To put up the tents, make sure the guys get rest and doing all that so they can get back to work, right? So you're kind of there to run that type of thing. So there's a spot. This water tender sitting right here. You know, if we have a couple well-trained people in town, right? Guys that can drive, guys that can do stuff. We take those folks. If we have a fire, they can take the fire truck there, and one of our trained volunteers can come bring that truck. They don't have to fight fire. They have to just get it to the scene and be able to put it in pump, right? Get water out of it, and we're good to go. So as long as everybody knows that training can be provided in-house, no cost to them, we will make it as easy as we can for them, so they're not having to come off the mountain every other day to do something. I think that's the big part. And then like Kurt said, getting the word out, just get the word out in town. We need you, right? Put it on Facebook, put it on, I think there's stuff on our website actually says, hey, you want to volunteer. But if you don't know that, right? And we can do a better job at some of the fundraisers. Fundraisers are awesome. You guys support the department amazingly. But we probably need to put the word out at every fundraiser that, hey, thank you for coming, thanks for supporting, and if you want to help, come on down to the station to grab an application, or go online and get an application.
Lewis has a question.
Lewis, go.
Just one thing I wanted to mention, Chief. Also, we need volunteers to help us cover for when engines do go out on fires, or if we have a call and we send a team off the hill on a call, we need a backup team up here to cover just in case we have another call.
Oh, and then one last thing, because it goes to your point. Like I said, I hate taking your taxes, hate doing else. I'm also of the opinion, whatever I can take from the federal government, I will take. So whether it be grants, whether it be, so this last year we got $1 million for the station. We got about $50,000 for new turnouts, which is the firefighting ensemble you see there. Those are about $7,000 a piece head to toe. But we got a grant for that. Some was private grant through Firehouse Subs. Some was part of a federal grant. We got money for, trying to think what else. We got, radios, got all new radios, right? Part of a federal communications grant that we're up here. We did it for all of the agencies. And then those air packs that you see there, those air packs, we got about $200,000 for Crown King specifically that was part of a larger grant we did for the entire department. Those are state of the art. You can't get a better air pack than that. They all have thermal imaging cameras in them. They have locators for down firefighters. They are amazing pieces of equipment. And they're also about $14,000 a piece, right? That's a lot of fundraisers just to buy a couple, right? So we were able to get that and get that paid for by the federal government for was it a 5% match? That was our buy, 5%. We were able to get this equipment. Oh, and then heart monitors. You guys don't have awesome ones yet because nobody's trained to use them. So you've got the hand-me-downs right now. But right now you have a hand-me-down $20,000 piece of equipment. Those are $50,000 brand new. Right, and we got grants last year down the mountain for Mayor and Williamson Valley where we replaced 8 of those. So almost $200,000 that we got grant funded to replace those that we could do up here. So you guys are always in the mix. You're always in with us. And like I said, if I can I already paid my taxes. I know you guys did too. I'll take back as much as I can get. But I don't care how in debt the federal government is. I will take all the money I can grab from them while I can get it. And that's my promise to you. And I don't care if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry. I will get back every penny I paid. I will try to get it back to this department and for all the other departments. What do they get?
Thank you. Keep cracking. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go next on the agenda to the resolution for the general obligation bond. And this will be the resolution. I'm wondering if we can do all these with one motion. The bond placement, agent agreement, the bond registered contract, and the resolution. Yeah, we can do this all in one motion. So this is the resolution number 23-01, and it's for the upcoming bond for this next year. It's for $209,000, and it's agreed that we will reduce the tax rate and have a 2-year payback on that product.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. So the motion carried. And this is for resolution 2301, bond placement agent agreement and the bond register contract. You guys are good? Yes, we all three, yeah. Yeah, both carried. The crew house. Can we get someone up there to give us some quotes? And I've already spoken with PNF. They said once we get a value to send that to them.
Does everybody know what that is?
No.
Okay. Dave?
So I don't, maybe some residents should take a hike up to the Forest Service. So as you're going up and you come to the historic house, if you make a left, you'll go to the property that we are leasing or that we will own. And on that property is our crew house. It's a 2-bedroom. It could probably hold, at least 6. 4 for sure, 6 people. We currently have Captain Brown up there, or Blair, I'm sorry, Blair. But if we get grant funding and if we form a wildland crew, they will be living in that structure along with housing at our new station. So it's kind of imperative that we keep it in repair because it's come to a little bit of disarray after probably 30 years.
The departments had an MOU with the federal government to use it for the last 5. So, a little higher than that, more than that. So anyway, so we've been managing that property for them already, which is kind of what our new lease is built upon, is that, because we've been taking care of that house that we use for crew quarters when guys come up around.
So after Mr. Norman and I went up and did an inspection on it, there's a hole in the shower. There's a crack in the sink. Some of the appliances don't work, so we are looking at updating that. If there's any contractors within town, obviously we'd like to have your bid or opinion on what you can do up there. We're more than welcome that. You can feel free to contact me. The Prescott National Forest lease agreement. I know the board already approved for me to sign this agreement, but I wanted to bring it back because this lease agreement is not the same as the original one that was put before us before. So this will be more of a mutual aid agreement for a 5-year term, so we can get it to HUD, get it approved, and we can start breaking ground. Motion.
I'll make a motion
to approve.
to approve.
Okay, but the motion carried with all in favor. The fuel depot. Oh my goodness. This could be like an EPA super fund. This is another reason why we want to concentrate our equipment at the PNF property. We're going to need to clean up the property that we have been utilizing as a fuel depot. We have 2 trucks over there. We have 2 fuel tanks. I've spoken to PNF and they are willing to let us use their tank about 3 times the size of what we've been currently using. Fully burned, not sitting on the ground. I'm not even going to get into this at a public meeting. How it looks up there. But we need to address that property and get our stuff out of there. We don't even own it. And before the owner of the property does come, I heard rumor of that last year that this individual wanted to sell that property. It would only be prudent that we act and now to start removing our stuff from there. We might also look to members of the community that might be able to utilize that fire truck at least. Cut it up, take it out the scrap. could be something to contact myself or the chief. And we'll work that out. But, we definitely need to start, getting our stuff out of there. Out of district properties, chief want to touch on that, too. I spoke with, Chip Davis, the parcel numbers.
Yeah, so anything that's, so we're gonna be making a push to see if some of these, there's a bunch of properties kind of on the edge of the district that aren't in the district. So a couple of them, contract in, but they do touch the district, which is kind of silly. So we do a contract, we're renewing contract every year, but they just in case they do. And there's several that aren't. So, we were gonna make a push over this next year to contact all those property owners to see if, kind of like we were talking, everybody taking a piece of the load type thing. So there's a lot of folks that do live close by that aren't in. You know, hey, would you like to, and help out your neighbors, and help out yourself at the same time. And if they don't, what will we do in the future? So at other places where we're at, we have made the same approach with local folks that aren't in the district and border and touch it. And we got a lot of folks that they don't like to pay taxes, right? So they're not in, which is fine. There's a lot of folks that have neighbors that don't want in, so it blocks them from joining, right? So they have to be adjoining at the touch. So they can't, so they'll do a contract. But if you guys have read the paper, over the last couple of years, you've seen up in Paulden, only about half of Paulden is in the central Arizona fire district. The other half is not. So the same offer, right? You can come in, you can join the district, have a contract. Their policy up there is, if your house is on fire, there's nobody trapped in that house. They will sit down the street and watch it burn down. I mean, they will park the fire truck at the closest house that has a contract to them and watch it burn, make sure it doesn't come back to the house with a contract.
Yeah.
So
That happened to my
we
friend.
cannot and will not do that, right? I couldn't bear to watch something bad happen to a neighbor and us do nothing about it. However, let me just state, you want to be a gambler? You want to roll the dice? You want to not pay to be in the district for 20 years and all of a sudden you do have your emergency? We will come, you will get the world's best treatment, we will put out your fire, and we will send you a hellacious bill for service. Right? Well, then you got your choice. You can join the district and get rid of the bill, right? It sounds like coercion, and it is, right? But hey, you played the game and lost, right? You did 20 years of not paying anybody for protection, and the one day it came down where you needed the service, right? And you were counting on everybody to be there to come to your emergency. You picked up the phone and you fully expected someone to show up to your house. Well, guess what? We will. Amazingly huge. It's the same amount we charge the state for going on fires for them, right? $1,000 an hour for a truck. Things like that. So it's very expensive. And again, you got the service, you got it at the time, you'll pay back those years of not being in. I hate to sound like that, but that's the only fair way to do it for everyone. Right? So you don't lose the service, you don't not get it. But you also don't get the ISO insurance rating improvement too. So for those of you that haven't checked with your insurance company, we lower the ISO. So 1 is the best you can be. 10 is the worst. 10 means you don't have a fire department. We were a 7 up here. We got it over this last year. We have to reduce down to a 5. For a mountaintop fire department that has 1 station, that is amazing, right? So you should all see a reduction in your homeowner's insurance, and that reduction should hopefully take a big chunk out of the taxes that you're paying, right? But check with it. If your insurance company does it, and some don't use ISO, USAA, and I think farmers go by historic fire loss in the zip code, right? I beg you. We get our commercial insurance of the fire department from an agent down in Phoenix. And it's NFP Insurance Agency is who it is. But they rep like 50 companies. They're willing to talk to you. You know, if you go to your insurer and they say, we don't do that, and you're going to keep your insurance as high as it was, they represent 50 reputable Farm Bureau, like reputable companies. If you talk to them, they'd be willing to write you a policy and quote you something hundreds, if not thousands less. There are thousands less.
If we were looking at putting together a meeting on a Saturday or Sunday and having some representatives
some insurance
come up, because this has been a huge problem the last 2 weeks. I've talked to like 4 or 5 people, and the insurance is going up statewide, and people are getting dropped.
And some of you may have called me already. Forgive me, but I did write a letter for some of you because you contacted your insurance company and they said, "Oh, we don't have any proof of this." We sent them all the ISO stuff. We sent them the letter from the department, and as far as I know, because I didn't return phone calls, all of those people saw a reduction. Right? So they were looking to get that reduction, and something kind of stalling up. So if you talk to them and you need the letter, I'd be more than happy to send it to you. You can email it to you, to your agent. And also, we can get you in touch with an agent, like I said. You may love where you're at, but if they can get you a reduction in your rate, then that's something else.
Yeah, I spoke to someone the other day that got a $400 check back after she sent,
Farm Bureau is, who I use along with others I've shared with. I did get a reduction check as soon as they do. They don't usually go by ISO readings, but I gave it to them and they said, okay, and they gave me a check.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, did you have a question?
It was one of it's going to move back in time just a little bit, but I would like to see possibly the community maybe look at other locations for the fire department that would be possibly less expensive or more advantageous for the community. We have, in the future, we're going to have probably a little bit more growth. We've got another restaurant coming into Crown King. This is going to help out as far as the amount of people that will show up. We're trying to work with parking and other issues that have been a real problem for a long time. And that also, having equity in something is a good idea, and having the fire department maybe not placed up at the top might be a better idea. I don't know that I've heard any discussion other than moving it up to the Forest Service, but yet I have several people in town that are willing to offer up their property at a price, obviously, fair market value, and those properties are large enough to handle that, as well as a business wastewater treatment system that would be really in the future of Crown King's best interest. We seem to always be focused on the fire department, yet the thing that a lot of people come up here because of the businesses and have moved here because of the businesses, and I think you're forgetting them in many ways. In other words, we would be better off with a better water system, with filtration and other things. In other words, I do see a problem with spending all of our money on just the fire department. I know your expansion is a good thought, but it doesn't necessarily serve the best interest of getting to a fire. We see that every single weekend, right here between the saloon and MJ's. This is going to be a bottleneck, it's going to be an issue, but there are people willing to sell you property and help this community, and I was pleasantly surprised that people would step up and want to share in their property, and it does have a better location than what you're asking for, but it doesn't seem like anyone wants to hear anyone out on the issue. I would just like to know why it's so concentrated that you need to have the fire department up at the Forest Service when we could own our own fire department down on private property that we bought.
So a couple of things. So the $900,000 would go away. Okay.
We have a grant for
We have a grant.
$900,000.
We're up there, the 900 grand. Now it goes back to the community.
It's written specifically on that property.
I know,
If it goes
But
to
is it
another
really-
property,
but
then you have to start the process completely over with. There has to be
Well,
a,
maybe we should. Go ahead.
you would have to have a ecological study for the properties. Yeah, we did it all for up there.
And you can do that down here too.
And it took 3 years.
Yeah. Whoa. Who is going to do an ecological problem on a piece of private property that we buy?
If
Did
it's
you
a
want to do it?
federal agency on it.
But you
Yeah.
just said we
But
couldn't
we
get the
did
federal.
get the federal grant.
So then we're back to the bond line. But then where do they get the money?
This federal grant go away. And then, because, as I explained before, we got the federal grant because of all the amenities that were up at the Forest Service. We already had septic, we already had this, we already had that, So we got the grant. So that just goes away, so we gotta start the whole process over.
We've already
And
spent
there's no
over an hour on it.
There's no guarantee that you're gonna do it, so.
Hey, as people are starting to bail, we also intend to meet again as just community stuff over at, out in front of Terrence to just talk, maybe do some discussions about things, not just this fire stuff we've been rehashing. And we will be having Saturday meetings, okay? There's gonna be an announcement whether we gotta use Facebook, or however we need to get it out there. But we will get community meetings going again right away. I promise you that.
And we will need people to volunteer to run those community meetings, and we're hoping that it's some of you.
Angus, shoot.
Sorry, one other question I just
That's what I was,
had. Is there a reason that we don't want the forest, like, why are we not holding the Forest Service more to their obligations of this ranger district and the surrounding properties of our community? So, real quick, one, I think that the community should come together on a platform to where we firewise our own private properties. But ultimately, I think that we should really be tying the Forest Service to the obligation of tending to the forest that is interwoven within our private property.
yeah, runs right through the middle of the whole.
So I can understand how the Forest Service, a federal entity, is not going to even look at us when our own stuff is not in order. But I feel that with the growth of this department, I think that maybe should be an attention thing, that we work on really improving the community on a firewise level and stuff, and then instead of like pushing the Forest Service out and just taking over their property, shoehorning them into coming back and actually doing something with the stuff that surrounds us.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, it's a tough one.
But I will say though, to this, everybody in this group, it's your guys' phone calls. The reason there's money going towards these roads, and the reason there's money going to this stuff all of a sudden, is because the people that are sitting here have been calling the senator's office, have been calling the county, have been calling everybody else. Yeah, the enforcement meeting, and taking care of that stuff, because really this week it's 50 degrees, and they have listened. You know, it's been, all of a sudden the money's starting to open up.
Already underway. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a little new, but I came today because I care about my fire. It sounds like you're going to do everything you can to keep our firemen working.
Oh, yes, sir.
And new facilities, sounds good to me. I've been up there. Maybe everyone has been up there. It's kind of nice up there.
Hey, also,
just for my people, just for my firemen, that's why I'm here.
for you guys that helped Tony put this together, I'll get this on our website or Facebook, and I will respond to this. We will respond to this, okay? Just to let you know. So I'm not just gonna take this and throw it in the trash can. I will respond.
Okay, what website am I finding all this information we've been talking about?
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Should be crownkingfire.org, but we do have to have the information come to the person who needs to put it out there. So I'm just saying, if you could get that to me, I will get it on that. I can give it to you later, Joe. I'll
Fire done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, you mentioned communicating through Facebook.
Yeah.
I think that should be minimized to 0%
Yes.
from the fire board.
Yes. I agree with that.
I agree with you. On all platforms, if you're considering yourself a government representative, a voice of the people, that needs to stop yesterday.
Yep.
I agree. Thank you.
It's actually good.
I've already.
Because that's a good way to get your ass kicked.
Thank you.
Several times.
Thank you, Leon.
Yeah.
All right.
We should all be in Facebook timeout.
That's good.
Just to add to that real quick, if you're not willing to say it to somebody's face, eye to eye, do not put it on the internet.
Yeah, great.
There you go.
Thank you.
Horrible.
Okay. I'm just gonna skip it to future meetings. I think it's September 25th after the auction. You good with that?
Yep. Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn at
Second.
13:50, I think it is.
I know they're adjourned. If anybody needs my contact info, my phone's always on, and I'm at work almost every day of the week. So if you guys need something, call. All right, several people have figured out how to get a hold of me, and that's it. Written lots of letters. If you need something,